Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Once again, this is Alex. I do believe I'm going to change the channel name to Trading Aces, but that's going to be later on down the line. We'll see how popular these videos go, if it's really necessary to do that. But anyway, it's been a little bit since I uploaded, so I wanted to show you what I'm looking at right now. Currently, I did sell off a few of the stocks that I had before for a pretty decent profit. It's actually pushed me over the $1,000 range. As you know, I started out with 40 and then I was able to move my Robinhood money over to this account, which got me a total of $940. I'm now sitting at $1,100, almost 1,200. Once I So VNET has been a really big winner here, and as long as it's still doing good in the after hours, I haven't checked it yet. I just now launched Thinkorswim back up, so we'll have to take a look at it. It has been a holiday break. They were closed on July 3rd, and of course, then it was followed by the weekend. So tonight is it just turned Monday about an hour ago, so we should see the markets open up. Currently, I have $18 profit on this. I wanted to go ahead and point out, if I haven't before, PL open and PL day. This is the PL day is the profit or loss throughout the day. So whatever price the stock was at and wherever it is currently, that's what you'll see here. PL open is the profit or loss since you opened or since you initiated that trade. So if you bought it at, let's say, $8 and the stock's up to $12, you'll see underneath that $4 here because that's your profit. Now, PL day, it just works as however that day went. So like, let's say you went in at $8, it went up to let's say $20. Let's say it was an amazing amazing climb, right? And it got to 20 and then it dropped down. So the next day it was at 20, it dropped down to, let's say, 18. You'll see 2 in parentheses because that is a $2 loss. But over here you'll still see $10. It'll say $10. Yeah. So you'll still see your profit for that there. Anyway, so let's check out VNET. Let's see where we're going here. View trades. So this is when I bought it, so I know that I'm outside of the day trading limit, so this won't count as a day trade if I do sell it off today. The price, this is what I bought it for. This is where it's at now. Or no, this is where it's at now, the mark. And of course PL open, so since I bought it at this price, this is where it's at now, that's the profit that I've made. So let's take a look over here. Now, well, let's go ahead and open it up. Click it. Okay, so far it's really peaked in the after hours. Generally speaking, what we'll see is a fall because people are going to try and get it right as soon as it can. Sometimes the after hours market will uh, it'll fix itself right out of the gate. I hate when you see stocks boost up like that because generally it's just going to be a large fall off until it hits its resistance. And a lot of people, they'll buy it off. They'll think, all right, I just got it at this high mark, it's going to keep going up. It doesn't do that. Generally speaking, it'll very rarely rebound to where it starts out when it has a peak like that. But so far it is still rising. We're going to have to monitor it, of course, a lot later. It's not going to open for like another 8.5 hours, so we'll see. But I'm going to be watching that. I could go ahead and put in a stop loss. In fact, I think I might do that just to be on the safe side. One thing I have noticed, however, is that TD Ameritrade's stop price It's really iffy. It won't sell if or it won't sell or buy if it is in an oversold or overbought position. So let me see if I can bring that up. Let's go to the chart here. So once again, I'm using the RSI model to see if it is oversold or overbought. Oversold down here, overbought up here. And you can change this. The For a stock that is increasing, you want to do an 80-40. You would do that by going to your studies, RSI, 80-40. And generally for stocks that are going down, you'll use 70-30. That's just a general rule of thumb that I have discovered here. Just doing quick research on RSI and seeing how it works. And you can see here, you can even set the colors for overbought and oversold if you choose to. I don't really, I don't really see the point in it, but you can. So I've got it set here because it is rising as 80-40, and it does look like it is getting to where it's overbought. So at this point, I would really want to look into selling where I can, unless I want to continue to try and ride it out. So if I were to freak out, put in a sell option. Like let's use right here. Actually, let's see if we can isolate that. Okay, it looks crazy, but it works. So let's say my stock was, right here, and it's going down, it's going down. People are trying to sell it, right? And I decided it gets to this point, I'm like, I don't think it's gonna go up anytime soon. I'm kind of worried about that, so I put in my sell. Well, you can see right here, it's being oversold. So if I had my stop loss at like 1244, it's not going to execute that stop loss, and it's just going to keep on dropping until it's no longer in an oversold sort of situation. In that case, I would have to wait until it reopened at around, so first time on Thursday. So opening on Thursday, starts going up a little bit. It's no longer in that oversold uh, sort of bracket, and I would be able to sell that. And it looks like that's what a lot of people did. You see where it spiked up, and then it started just falling again, oversold. People aren't being able to sell it. Still oversold. People aren't able to sell it, but it is starting to go up. After market, it kind of pretty much stayed within the same sort of area there, and then it starts going up. People are able to buy it again. People still see promise in it, and they're just buying it back. So if you're trying to buy or sell in an overbought or oversold sort of situation, and you have it like an automatic ticker, it's not going to work. Or an automatic order, I should say. It's just not going to work. They'll reject that sell. Usually, what'll happen is they'll keep that sale still active, but yeah, until it gets out of there, it's not going to work. So that's how that works. So VNET, we see it's getting close to being overbought, which will generally mean we're going to see a sell-off. You can see right here it went over. If you just trace that right up, it went over, so it's overbought, and then it dropped back down. People still wanted to, still saw the promise in it, and they're buying it, and they're buying it. So just because it's getting close to the overbought doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go down, but generally you can see how it kind of fluctuates right in here, and how it's fluctuating in these during these days. So it's just really something that you want to, generally what I would do is I would look at the projections here, because at this moment I'm already making money. So anything, what did I get in on it, 24 or something? So I would set it a stop loss maybe somewhere right here. So I'm still making money off of it. Generally speaking, you don't want to get yourself all psyched up when you do see a large increase, because generally you're not going, unless you're monitoring it constantly, you're not going to get that full total. So right now I'm looking at $18 profit. If it does drop, then I'll have my stop loss there, and I'll still be making money. So I could expect maybe half that, let's say $9. It's not glorious, but it's profit. And it sure beats the heck out of, trying to hold the bag if for whatever reason the stock just starts plummeting and having to sell at a loss. And once again, if it does drop, let's say it goes down, here's where my buy-in price was, and it hits that, or well, actually, so I'm going to set my stop loss at 25-ish. So let's say it drops down, it hits 25, it's not being oversold at that moment, then I'll collect the profit off of that. Let's say it goes down a little bit, starts coming back up. Well, the day after that, I'd be able to go ahead and purchase it again and continue to ride this up. It's having those stop losses in there, monitoring it, especially in the beginning, like during opening, is going to be very beneficial for you. And it's just a way that you can get profit. There's a large saying in here. If you've been watching other channels about trading, they'll say, don't get greedy. Because if you get greedy, you're going to sit here and you're going to just let it keep rising, and you might not be paying attention and it's going to drop. Or you're going to be just, you'll see it dropping, but you just don't want to get rid of it because you see it rising up. Take what you can get out of it, reinvest it whenever it comes down, and keep riding it. It's the best way to do it. That's what's been greatly successful for me so far. So we got that. Let's check my other stocks. So I've got IPG, that's one that I'm holding. Once again, the price hasn't changed since the 3rd of July. So let's check out IPG. That's a pretty new one. When I got this, I knew that it was somewhat of a high risk, and I'll explain why. Okay. So the reason why I got into this, I went ahead and drew up the lines, right? On the 1 year, we've got the lowest lows. On average there, we've got the highest highs. Now, it dropped down below. Let me bring it up on this chart here. It dropped down right to where the lower lows are. And in fact, I need to adjust my line just a little bit because it's actually just below its lowest lows. So let's see. Let me get rid of that. Remove drawing. To do this, you just right click, add a drawing, add a line, and that is more is a better representation. Just left click, draws your line for you. See, hits the low low, hits the low low, hits the low, and goes. So I actually got it like right, let's see here, like right in here, I would assume. Let's check when I got in. View trades. Okay, that's right. So I actually bought twice because I saw it going up, so I put more in there. So I got in at, let's see, 1744. Dang it, chart. Okay. So 1744, right in this area. So I got it when it hit that. Projection said it was going to go under, but I figured, if I can get it here, we might see it continue to rise because that is what we're dealing with. And we were dealing with lower lows here, but in the following days, so I guess I must have bought it like right here, actually. One of these guys right here. So I saw that it was coming up back towards the resistance level. And at this point, what we would expect to see is it either start bouncing off of it or it goes over it and it treats this as its resistance level as it has in the past. So I'm kind of hoping to see that it will bounce back over there and start rising. And so there's a lot of profit that can be made in that. I do only have 12 stocks, but I mean, heck, if I can get in at 1744 as it is, and let's just say it reaches $19, 19.70. That's a pretty good profit. It's $3 per share. That's like nearly $40 profit. So when you're starting small, that's not bad. That's more money that you can use to get more shares and reinvest and just continue to build up that portfolio. So that's why I got in it. It is a little high risk because, like I said, it can use this as its new resistance. It can start bouncing off of it. It could start going in the opposite direction. We might start seeing lower lows as it continues. It is higher risk. But given its consistency, I'm really hoping to see it bounce. And now, once again, I'll set my stop loss so if it does start moving in the opposite direction, I'm not losing too much money. Right now, I'm only out like $5 on it. No biggie for me. You know, I've already made that in profit on my other stocks and my other trades. And once again, I went in on it knowing that it was high risk. And so, or not high risk, but let's say medium risk. I mean, it's not like I took my entire portfolio and threw it in there and I'm hoping for it. It's not like this is a penny stock, you know. So I'd say medium risk. I could stand to lose maybe $10, you know, maybe. So we'll see that. And we see here, checking the RSI once again, and also checking the MACD, we see that it is starting to rebalance on that. Now it could go back down, but generally speaking, we'll see it cross over and go up. Goes down, crosses over, goes up. So it's crossing over now, so I'm hoping to see it go up. RSI is also showing that it was oversold when it hit this, and so generally we'll see that swoop back up, and it is currently trending back towards a a buying time. So we should see the price go up. So I'm kind of excited about that. Just gonna hold on to it for a little while. Now this next one, CMRE. Well, let me drag it here. It will not. Okay, now this one, once again, there is potential for growth, not very much though. We see on the 5 day it's kind of been going down. It's hitting this resistance. Oh, and when you draw these lines, it shows up on all the maps or on the all the charts. So that's what that red line is. If we go, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing this little red line. That one needs to be adjusted to just a little bit. See, I was kind of freehanding it on the smaller ones. So let's make it a little bit better here. So there's that, there's that. Say right about there is actually where we're looking. And we're kind of looking at a wedge. You see how this is remaining a little bit flatter? Let's go ahead and fix that one as well. So high, add drawing at a line, and try to keep it right as consistent as you can with the highs. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's really just to give you a representation, like an idea. So it's not as bad that way. It is still, this one is still moving up while this one's moving it up at a slower rate. And generally you'll see like a wedge kind of situation. Like, let me just draw one here for you. Like that. So when you see stocks going like way up, way down, way up, way down, and then it goes up and down, up and down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, you start seeing a sort of a wedge sort of situation. So let's get rid of that. Alright, so at this one, I set my buy limit. You can see that right here. It's at 509. I'm kind of expecting it to open up and start moving up again. I'm looking at dollar something per share. Once again, not very much, but if I can get in low, it works for me. So we'll see how that goes, and it might just continue its downward motion here. And we see that it has crossed over the line, so I wouldn't be surprised if it did drop. So I might actually lower that down. So when the market is getting close to opening, I might cancel this sell and monitor it more. But you can see that it's oversold right here. And then it came up, it dropped down, comes up, drops down, and it's almost at that oversold again. So at this point, the market is saying that the stock is not as the price doesn't match its value. It's saying that the stock has more value than what it's at currently. So hopefully we'll see that start to rise again. Hopefully we'll see this, if it is going to go a little bit lower, only go slightly lower and then start raising up. I mean, when you're swing trading, that's really what it's about. It's all about patience. If you're at a loss, just be looking at your RSI, be looking at your MACD, trying to judge it. If you're losing money like crazy one day after the next day after the next day after the next day, you're probably going to want to cut your ties on it. If you don't see any, fluctuations that might be going in your favor, it's probably best to go ahead and cut it. Like right here where it drops way down. At that point, you might could go ahead and cut it. If you're like, no, I'm going to hang on to it, it goes up a little bit, but now it's just day after day after day. You're starting to see a pattern at this point. Keep in mind, you can't see anything on this side. You're starting to see, like, okay, well, this is its new high. It's hitting, it's just continuously, selling off. Oversold here. You might want to get out of it, because if you could get out right here, let it drop. You see where it gets oversold, you could be monitoring it, seeing it kind of going up. You could invest right here again, get that profit. You can just, these guys right here will save your life. But, this is the 1 year chart. This is day after day after day. So it just takes patience. Like, because if you bought it right here, you might say, all right, we're doing well. But if you hold it for just a couple more days, keep your stop losses there, and just adjust your stop loss as that thing keeps rising up, you're just, what you're doing is you're ensuring yourself more and more profit. So it's all just about keeping an eye on the lower lows, the higher highs, or vice versa in the opposite direction, keeping your stop losses updated, and just trying to get in at the best moment that you can. So like if you got right here, or right here, it's a really good spot to be in. And let's say it rises up, so you rise your stop loss up. Rises up again, so you just keep on adjusting that stop loss. Rises up a little bit more, adjust the stop loss, and just ride it out as it's going. And right here, you can see it took a massive drop in the course of like 2 days, but it hadn't hit an oversold sort of situation. But yeah, just keep an eye on those. It'll help you out. So far, or in conclusion anyway, I'm expecting profit out of this guy. I'm going to update my stop loss on it, make sure that I'm not losing money, but also give myself enough padding room so if it does go down, I don't just freak out, auto sell my stuff. I give it a buffer so it can start going back up. We'll keep that adjusted. IPG, once again, 450 in the negative right now, but I do see potential of it going to rise. It's been oversold at its resistance line again. So hopefully the RSI model is reliable there, telling me that it is going to start rising again. We'll keep an eye on that. IPG, I'm probably going to adjust or cancel that order and adjust my buy-in price depending on what happens this morning, and go from there. But yeah, so far trading has been a success with the money that I had in it and the strategies that I'm using. I haven't lost any money. Of course, I've had days where some stock has gone down. Um, I've had days where it's been really iffy, but So far, I've actually turned profit of, what would that be? 60, about $80. So not bad. And I do still have some trades. I have probably $300, I believe, that I can put into more stocks. That has been one thing that I've had to adjust to, is that on Robinhood it didn't seem too hard to put a large sum of money into shares, but on TD Ameritrade I just find myself having, hundreds of dollars in my portfolio still that go on uninvested, and so it's basically sitting there. It's not making me any money. So I'm going to have to get in the habit of seeing where I'm at and just trying my best to maximize the money that I have invested. I need to get a little ballsier when it comes to getting more stocks or more shares for my trades and go from there. But we're learning together. So that's going to be my mission tonight, is before the stock market opens again, find more stocks to invest in, or decide if I want to, buy in more. Generally speaking, I wouldn't want to buy in like once I already initiated a buy, like for this for 15. Like if I went in and I said, you know what, this thing's making me money, let me go ahead and throw even more in there. So I buy it again, but that updates my buy-in time, right? And so if it goes up and then starts plummeting, if I sell all my shares right then and there, well, that just counted as a day trade, and you have to be very careful with those day trades. So generally, I'll write them out until I can sell them and then reinvest it if it's continuing the trend that I continue to see. Like if I continue to see that, all right, I got here, it started dropping, I sold it, but it's hitting that resistance line and still climbing, I might go ahead and invest even more money in it and use that trend to my advantage. So we'll see how all that goes. I'm going to find more stocks to invest in. Once again, always use that website before that I showed you. Unfortunately, I can't show you now because I forgot to exit out of everything. But in my previous videos, I did leave a link to the site that I use that shows you all the different trending stocks, the direction in which they're heading, their current price, what the average price is, what the estimated price of the stock should be, so the value that brokers believe the stock is worth. Generally, if it's under that, that's a good indication that it should go up. It's not guaranteed, nothing in this business is, but that's just something else that you could look out for. And it has all the charts on there. So I do apologize for not having that ready for you guys. I don't want to give away too much of my information by opening up Chrome down here or the new Edge or whatever. But I will put the description to that link in this video so that you guys can use it. And once again, take advantage of that information. It's just really good information out there. It's a really good way to find out, what you might want to be investing in. I don't believe there is a filter for price. So you're going to have to, if you have a smaller portfolio, you're going to have to, scroll past stocks that are, $300, $500, so on and so forth, until you find ones that are more in your area. I like to look for stuff anywhere between $6 to maybe 25. I will invest in higher price stocks if the expectation for them is higher of movement. So what do I mean by that? Let me go to Apple. That's usually a good example. So this one is still trending. Unfortunately, I don't have enough buying power to get into it now because it probably would go up. But let me use... So let's say you get in at 355 here, and you can only afford one share. Well, currently, it's at 364. So that's $30 profit off of just one share. And it has a lot of volume, it has a lot of momentum, and so you'll see, how quickly that overall profit will render. So you can get into higher priced stocks if you see that kind of thing. I believe Verizon VZ is the same way. So, let's see here, 354 to 355. So that small change is a dollar's worth of profit. It's significantly more affordable than Apple is. But the reason I don't like Verizon too much is because, one, there's not really a decent trend here. We see that we get lower highs, we are getting lower lows here, but it's rather unpredictable. And I mean, look at this. This is just it's just a crap show. So so I tend to not do Verizon very much. I do recommend Verizon in the way of if you're looking to invest in dividend stocks. Dividend stocks pay out quarterly throughout the year, so you get paid like every 3 months. And you can see here it was $61 and or no, 61 cents and another 61 cents, another 61 cents, and that's per share. So if you had tons and tons of money, you could pour it into dividend stocks and you just make that. They just give you that for owning shares in their company. It's like a free gift. And so if you have, 1,000 shares, if you were able to somehow come up with that kind of money, God bless you. But you could see how that would make a lot of difference, and you could just take all that profit, reinvest it, and make even more in another 3 months. Take that, reinvest it, make even more. It's compound interest. A lot of people, they swear on compound interest, and frankly, they're right. I mean, you can make a lot of money investing that way, but it takes a lot more time. I mean, once again, you only get a dividend payout every 3 months or so. And if you only have, let's say you spent $100 getting it, let's say the price is just 50 just to make it easy peasy. You've got two shares. So every 3 months you're only making a buck 20. That's just not. And yeah, you could take that $1.20 and save it, take that $1.20, save it, take that $1.20, save it. How many months are you going to have to wait until you can even buy another share of this off of the profit alone? So it is, or off of the dividends alone. So it is, to me, if you don't have a lot of money to play around with anyway, I want to invest in a dividend stock, especially if you can't buy another share of that in, let's say, 2 quarters, 6 months. If you can't even buy one share of it off of the dividend money alone, don't even worry about it, in my opinion. That's something that you would like to invest in, maybe, when you're in the tens of thousands. Uh, it's good, and plus it's also good because when you want to retire, if you don't feel like checking the charts every day and staying on top of all that and reading the news trends and watching the market and keeping track of the average costs and how much brokers believe that the stock is actually worth and so on and so forth, it's great to have dividend stocks because every 3 months, if you've put enough money into them, you'll just get paid. No work required. And the only thing you'll have to do is make sure that your company isn't tanking. So you just have to check in every once in a while. But for people with smaller portfolios like myself, I don't recommend going into a stock just because of dividends. I mean, you can invest in a dividend stock and then sell it. So like if I bought it here and sold it here, that's perfectly fine, and that profit speaks for itself. But just don't rely on those dividend stocks or dividend prices. But anyway, so that's my video for tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and try to find more stocks that I can invest in and try to keep you guys updated. Once again, I'm Alex. Feel free to comment down below. Let me know what stocks you're interested in, your strategy, the studies you use, why you use them. Any information helps, and that's really what we're here for, isn't it? Everybody, we all want to make some money. We all want to succeed. We should succeed together. Any information out there is helpful. Always use a grain of salt. Always use a little bit of skepticism. If you're given a recommendation on how to trade or what stock you should be trading or something like that, always look into it. Be very aware of pump and dumps. They do exist. They do have people out there that'll hype up that stock, get that price as high as they can. It's kind of like one of those, oh, you got to get in now. It just takes that $5,000 investment, but it's going to make you a ton of money, but you got to get in now. It's kind of like those scams. And they'll get that thing and they'll have enough people go into it, and once it hits the highest mark that they think they can get off of it, they sell it and that thing just drops. I mean, it just instantly. I don't have a good example of one. I used to know a couple. Um, but when I do come across one next, I'll let you guys know. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But but yeah, always share some information. Always look into that information. Let's help each other out. And I wish you guys some good trades. Thank you for watching.